And I'll just say this, Mr. President, in closing, I want you to look at the face of this little girl. Right now, she's going to have to travel out of state in order to get the medicine her doctors say that she needs to avoid thousands of seizures a day. That is just not right. We ought not stand in the way of a doctor prescribing for a patient what that doctor believes is in that patient's medical best interest. One of my constituents back in 2014 told me about her granddaughter who had intractable epilepsy, and this little girl, 7 years old, had up to 100 seizures an hour. And the pharmaceutical drugs that she was being prescribed made this little girl a zombie. But what I saw with my own eyes and what my constituent told me about her granddaughter is that cannabis oil, CBD oil, a derivative of cannabis, eliminated those seizures. And so I thought to myself, I want to empower doctors. I want doctors who think that a patient can benefit from this, I want them to have that power. And so that's what led me to this, is that personal experience of that little girl. It has been shown how cannabis interacts with the cannabinoidal system in the body and resolves these underlying problems. I mean, that's why 34 states have legalized this for medical use. I mean, if it wasn't so powerful, if the medical science wasn't there, you wouldn't see this movement having the traction that it does.
Is it taking your drag?
In your mind, when you're in pain, it's like your own torture chamber within your mind. There's no way to escape it after a while, and it becomes relentless. My name is Gary Daniel. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. My wife and I both are. I was in the Marine Corps for 27 years, and I retired from the Marine Corps as a sergeant major. And then I went on to Richland Northeast and taught for 16 years. So when this back went out, all that changed. It just changed it. My whole life, my whole world turned around.
I personally have lost more friends than I want to count to suicide. And some of these suicides were because of substance abuse, or they used the medication itself to kill themselves. Veterans that have post-traumatic stress or chronic pain or moral injuries already have a stigma. And if they're looking for alternative ways of coping mechanisms, they shouldn't be stigmatized again. I sustained an injury from a roadside bomb in March of 2005. I spent a year and 8 months recovering from my injuries. And for a while, it was, pills, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I had a fear of what those medications would do to me. I was afraid of addiction. Medical cannabis is a natural product, right? Can it be abused? Sure. What can't be abused? It's an alternative option that, if used appropriately, if researched appropriately, can provide positive, non-addictive results.
We've been thinking about cannabis a certain way for decades, and it's just only been in the last 10 or 15 years that medical science has really proven that cannabis has tremendous therapeutic qualities. And so anybody who sees this, anybody who sees the real life effect of this, automatically becomes an advocate for this.
If marijuana helps me, I'd like to try it at least. If they cut me off the Percocet right now, I'd be fighting to get something to help that pain. You have to move on with your life, and I want to spend a little time with my wife before we pass away, which is inevitable for everybody, so.